This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on January 16th, 2015. The time is 8:48 Mountain. Our radio show runs on your favorite radio stations, 6:30 CHAT in Edmonton, 3 in the afternoon on Sunday. If you ever miss a radio show, they are archived on Harold's two websites, HESradio.com and rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You'll find the podcast there. You can subscribe to it. You can download the show onto your portable device. We go anywhere you do with your busy life. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number to speak personally and privately with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. Harold's auction site is hsfineauctions.com. We'll talk more about that later. And whatever you do, do not forget, get our free weekly newsletter. It's the companion to our radio show, and it's a must-read every week. You can go through it in 5 to 10 minutes on your smartphone, your iPad, whatever portable device you have, your computer, or you can spend hours. It's really up to you. In our newsletter from rarecoloreddiamonds.com, our featured diamond of the week is a .30 carat hard-cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. Here we are about a month away from Valentine's Day. And if you wanted to give an outstanding investment gift, what a great idea this would be. Maybe if you were looking to propose, have it put into a ring. We'll talk more about that later in the show, but our featured diamond is a .30 carat hard-cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. What a week it was. I'll tell you, it was a crazy, crazy week. Come Thursday, Switzerland ended the euro peg. They had a peg at 120 to the Swiss franc, to the euro, sending the Swiss franc soaring up 30%. The central bank cut interest rates even further into negative territory that morning, down to 0.75% from 0.25%. So that means that if you're holding money with the Swiss bank, you're going to be paying them to hold the money. In fact, it's negative 0.75. Absolutely stunning. Harold, when we woke up that morning on Thursday, yesterday, gold was up $32. Currencies all around the world in chaos right now. This is why we have been advocating for a long time. You want hard assets in your portfolio. You need them. The way the world is going next week, they're talking about quantitative easing in the Euroland because of deflation. They're talking about deflation in the United States. And the way they're going to fight it more than likely is stoke up the printing presses. That's a positive for hard assets.
You bet, Randy. A very, very confusing week, obviously, and they've halted trading, by the way, at this particular point. We're taping the show right now at basically 10:30 Eastern Time here in the United States and Canada. And the fact is that they have actually halted trading in the Swiss franc today. So, what they did on Thursday was almost unprecedented. And the fact is that the Swiss franc skyrocketed in price and the euro plummeted. Actually, the euro is at the lowest level it's ever been at since it became the euro. So the fact is that some people may say that if your money is in Swiss francs, so you just gain 30% to your net worth, and if you have your money in euros, you've just seen your net worth crumble. But what it's actually done is it's going to kill the export trade of Switzerland. And what's made in Switzerland, aside from chocolates, is very high-end watches. Frank Mueller and all the top watch manufacturers are in Switzerland, and what it's actually just done is made those watches 30% more expensive, which is going to kill that business. So, when you get these changes in the currency markets, most people have no idea how it affects them in life and in business. Let's look at us as Canadians. about a year ago, the Canadian dollar was actually even to stronger than the U.S. dollar. Now, the Canadian dollar is 20% less than the U.S. dollar. That means that when a Canadian goes to the United States, and if you want $100 American, it costs you $120 Canadian. You're paying 20% more than you did last year for the same situations. And that's what's happening in Europe now. With Switzerland, their currency is worth 30% more. That means that, on one hand, it makes some people wealthier, but over the big situation, it's really going to kill the export trade in Switzerland. And this is not only happening there. Don't forget what happened in Russia just last month, where all of a sudden they had to raise interest rates by 17% because the currency was getting hammered. So, we've been saying all along, and again, since 2011 and really since 2008, when all the markets started to get manipulated and things started to happen in the market that were just unnatural, we knew that this day was going to come. We knew eventually we were going to have to pay the piper and pay for everything that happened over the last 5 years. You see, you've got a Dow Jones in the United States that went from 14,000 down to 6,500 for the right reasons. There was problems. There was a mortgage issue. There was a banking issues. There was all the skullduggery done over that time, and the derivatives market that just basically was killing the U.S. dollar and the U.S. Economy. And then things happened. 2008 and 2009 happened. They started to do quantitative easing. The debts were unbelievable. And now look what the situation is. You've got all these markets that are not where they're supposed to be. There's no way in the world that the Dow Jones is supposed to be at 18,000 because the economy in the United States does not warrant an 18,000 Dow. What it actually warrants right now, in my opinion, and probably others, is that the Dow should be sitting at around 9,000 or 10,000. That's where it should be, but it's not, and the reason is because it was made to go there. And the fact is that if you notice any type of pattern, if the Dow was down 3 or 4 days in a row for the right reasons, all of a sudden the Dow moves up 400 points in a day, and there's no real reason for it. It's because the market is being manipulated. The fact is that they're talking about the United States as a strong market again, but it's not. They talk about 5.6% unemployment, but if you look at the people that are out of the workforce, it's 20%. And that's why the retail sales are dropping in the U.S., and that's why the economy is not booming. In actual fact, the fact is that we've got 20% unemployment in the United States, and that's going to wreak havoc on the markets eventually. The retail sales numbers came out, and they were not good. So what we're looking at right now is more than likely that 2015 is going to be one of the most volatile and crazy years that we've ever been in. The fact is that there's so many geopolitical situations out there that could just blow up in everybody's face. Number one, you've got the situation with Russia. And I'm a firm believer that Russia is not the type of country that you want to really back into a corner. Putin is very, very wealthy. He's a trillionaire, and the fact is that he doesn't back down from these type of scenarios. So you've got a really bad situation in Russia with Ukraine, but the main situation is Russia against the United States, and that's not going to go well this year. I just don't see that Russia is going to back down from this, and I don't see the U.S., lightening up on the sanctions. And then you've got the biggest situation going on right now, which is oil. Oil prices are plummeting. Oil has gone from $110 down to $48 that it hit this week. Some people may say that's fantastic. It costs us less to drive and to heat our homes. But what it basically does is it puts a lot of companies out of business, and then on top of that, it's going to put countries out of business because you've got all these smaller countries that produce oil, and that's all they produce, like Yemen and Iraq and Iran and all these countries that depend on oil revenues, and they're getting killed at this point here. Oil from $110, they need at least $80 oil to be profitable, and oil's trading right now below $50 and probably going lower. Now, there's reasons for it. Nobody really knows who's behind this, but every indication is, and the way that I see it, is that it's Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is going to punish the United States, Canada, and all other oil-producing nations by dropping the price of oil probably down to around $35, maybe even lower if they wanted to. And that's going to really wreak havoc on these countries that produce oil. So we're moving into a time, into 2015, where we've got severe geopolitical situations. You've got Venezuela bankrupt. You've got a lot of countries in South America that are on the verge of bankruptcy. You've got all these oil-producing nations that are on the verge of bankruptcy. They just can't survive this way. And the fact is that you've got these manipulated markets out there. Now you've got these currency markets that are going crazy. And that's the one situation that we've made reference to probably every single week since quantitative easing started, was that the currency markets are going to go crazy. You're going to see moves in currencies that just don't make any sense, and we've been seeing that for the last several months. Just look at the Canadian dollar. It's down by 20%. If you go to the United States, you're going to pay 20% more than what you would have about a year ago. And now a similar situation in Europe with Switzerland and the euro. So again, we expect fireworks this year. We expect a lot of very volatile markets and things happening that are just going to shock the marketplace and shock people that are trading in the markets. That's why we're saying that, especially at this particular point, don't be in the paper asset market, because just like the people in Europe and in Switzerland and all that, they're waking up to disaster in their currencies, just like can happen in the United States and Canada. So the fact is that if you don't have protection against this, you're going to find that you're going to be the same as most. You're going to be in a situation where the markets start to get crazy and you have no protection, no hedge against all these bad things happening. Currency devaluation can ruin you. It could take you from being very wealthy to poor in just a short period of time, and it's happening in Switzerland as we speak. They had to halt the markets as we're doing the radio show this morning. So my feeling is to be out of these markets. Look what's happening in the Dow. You're getting 300-400 point moves in the Dow on the downstroke almost every single day. The market can recover. The other day, I think on Wednesday it was, the Dow opened down 300 points, came all the way back, and actually was up 150 points and finished down 250 points on the day. That's how that market's trading. Is that where you want your retirement funds and your safe money to be in a volatile market like that? No, you don't, because the fact is that unless you're an out-and-out gambler, you're going to lose all of your money, just like we did in 1999 and just like happened in 2008 and 9. We're right back to the same scenario again. Now, gold has rallied very, very strong, and so has silver. As we're taping the show on Friday, Thursday, gold was up $32. As we're taping the show, gold's up another $12, and silver is up 60 cents today and was up 50 cents yesterday on Thursday. So you're talking that, don't forget, silver 2 months ago hit $14.50. Now we're at $17.66. The gold market was down to $11.45 and is now up to $12.75. Now, does this mean that gold and silver is back into a bull market and is going to fly? Unfortunately not. I just don't see that happening at this particular point. And the major reason for that is the strength of the U.S. dollar, which is up 74 cents today. We're at 92.93. That's why gold is probably going to fall down to $1,000 before we see the market go higher. As much as I would love to see gold and silver skyrocket, because I own a lot of it, and so do a lot of my friends and clients, the fact is that as the U.S. dollar continues to strengthen at this point, the gold market and silver market have got to back off again. Don't forget, in 2011, when we hit $1,900 in gold, the U.S. dollar was at 72.5 cents. Now it's at 92.93. So you've seen gold go from 1,900 down to 1,150, and that's primarily because of manipulation. As we know, they raised the marginal requirement so heavily, they forced the price of gold and silver down. But then on top of that, the U.S. dollar has strengthened against the foreign currency markets, and that's why you've seen gold come down to these levels. Now, why is gold rallying when the Canadian dollar, when the U.S. dollar is up 74 cents and strong on Thursday also? It's only because of the confusion in the other currency markets and what's going on. But once things settle down, unfortunately, I see the U.S. dollar making gold back off again, and then we want to be a major buyer of gold when it gets back down to around the $1,000 level if it does actually get there. Oil's up $1.88 today at 48.13, but there's no doubt that Saudi Arabia is going to back oil back down to probably around $35. They're going to shock the market, shock the world, and bankrupt lots of countries. But the fact is that this is the result of all the skullduggery that has gone on to try to get out of trouble in 2008 and 9, and now we're going to start to see what's really happening with these markets. We're going to see massive downward movements, I believe, coming in stocks. I just don't see how these companies are going to stay in business with oil prices doing what they're doing and the currency markets doing what they're doing. Strongest recommendations. The strongest recommendations will be to own gold when it bottoms out again. I just don't believe that gold can continue to rally like this with a strong U.S. dollar, so I think it's got to back off. We'll certainly let you know when the time to buy it, but over the long term, we still see gold going to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and that's not wishful thinking. That's going to happen because of the currency market. So, Randy, again, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of volatility, a lot of things happening around the world, but between owning physical precious metals and owning diamonds, which, again, we've always said to you, to own diamonds because of what's happening in currencies. Diamonds are the only asset that could be sold in another currency, and that's why we've been urging you to invest some of your hard-earned money into the diamond market, because not only do they go up substantially, but with discounts in the currency markets, you need to own an asset that could be sold in another currency. So again, Randy, there's going to be a lot of fireworks this year, but we're on top of things. We see the way things are working out, and again, I see a very bright future for us in the hard asset market, and certainly the opposite for those that are in the paper asset market, mostly stocks and bonds.
The Swiss Central Bank had promised during the gold debate that was had about 2 months ago, where there was a vote that took place whether Switzerland would back their currency with gold. And at that time in the debate, they promised they would keep the peg. They didn't. That peg went. So really, you're in a position where kitty bar the door. Anything is possible at this point in time. That's why we advocate hard assets. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the world's best website for rare colored diamonds to invest in. The world's museums, when you go and take a look at their diamond collections, they are definitely rivaled by what Harold has at RareColoredDiamonds.com. You can invest in them. In fact, this week our featured diamond is a .30 carat hard-cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. And if you wanted to make a statement for Valentine's Day, that definitely would make a major statement. If you're starting a diamond portfolio, that would be a core position in your portfolio. Connect with Harold at RareColoredDiamonds.com, RareColoredDiamonds.com. Also, give us a call at 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. It was interesting to note from Egon von Greyers, and he lives in Switzerland. He was quoted as saying, "This is just the first shocking surprise in the markets in 2015. We will see many more of these type of currency revaluations in the future. We will also see similar moves in the bond market and stock markets this year and in coming years. Investors who are not prepared will see disastrous results in their portfolio. The SNB was probably aware of the massive quantitative easing program that's going to be announced by the ECB next week. This is probably why they pulled the trigger now on the peg. They would have lost a lot more money next week. In fact, they're cutting their losses. Harold, the losses, they're saying, the Swiss franc, they lost, the Swiss National Bank, $80 to $100 billion. That's how much they lost as a result of the peg being removed. Greyer is saying investors in the West now have a last chance to protect their wealth before the carnage starts, because wealth destruction will be massive and unprecedented. When the more than $1 quadrillion derivatives time bomb explodes, it will be too late to do anything. Gold has already broken out in most currencies and now is on the verge of breaking out in the U.S. dollar as well. We will see major upside moves in gold and silver in 2015 and in coming years. I would expect gold to advance several $100 in the coming months and silver to $25 to $30. So this is the last time that investors can get in at the highly discounted prices in precious metals. But what happened in Switzerland, obviously very shocking, as Harold was saying, for those companies. You're talking about Nestle. Nestle, they're based out of Switzerland. I believe Luxottica, as Harold touched on, watch companies like Swatch. In fact, this is one of the quotes. The CEO of Swatch says, after the currency was taken off the euro peg at 120, words fail me. Harold, we have approximately a minute and a half left here in our first segment. But you have the CEO of Swatch saying words fail me, and it's totally understandable. In fact, on Business Insider today, articles saying that there are people going bankrupt as a result of this. This has had a major, major effect on Switzerland. And suddenly a company, their products costing 30% more when they're going out trying to export them, and that will have a massive impact on their bottom line.
You bet, Randy. Again, you wake up one morning, everything is fine. You wake up the next morning, and your whole business and your whole life has been destroyed over one situation that you had absolutely no control over. And again, when you talk about Switzerland, you're talking about the major, major watch manufacturers in the world. The Frank Muellers and the best watches that you can buy are all out of Switzerland, and chocolate and other products that they produce, and all these people could be out of business by next week. How crazy is that? But that's the world that we live in, and this is going to be the norm, and that's why you've got to be sharp and on top of things. And again, hopefully, we're able to keep you advised as to what's going on so you can make an informed and intelligent business decision.
That's why we do the radio show. That's why we have our free weekly newsletter. We want to keep you up to date as to what's going on in the financial markets. Ultimately, you make your own decisions. You work very hard for the money that you have. And the whole goal is to profit and protect that money. That's why we do the radio show. We've been doing it together, Harold and I, since February of 2002. Harold did it just prior to 9/11. We put together the information in our newsletter to educate you and obviously give you fresh new information every week on our radio program. If you'd like to connect with us, you can do it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number 1-800-432-1022. Going to come back and talk about diamonds because they are so critical now in the times that we live in, as not only you can wear your diamonds, but this is wealth. This is portable wealth. And we'll talk more about it as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on January 16th, 2015. Our time right now is 9:14 Mountain. Radio show runs on your favorite radio station, 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, 3 in the afternoon on Sunday. And the shows are archived. They're streaming live on Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com and HESradio.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You'll find us there. You can subscribe to the podcast. It will come into your portable device. You can download it anytime you want. We're portable. We go anywhere you do with your busy life. As I was saying earlier in the show, you work very hard for the money that you have. I know that people here in Alberta, we're all hard-working folks. And it's so important that we profit and protect the money that we have. It's critical. And that's why we advocate, obviously, investing in hard assets, diamonds, gold, silver, investments that have stood the test of time. RareColoredDiamonds.com is Harold's website. You can speak with Harold personally and privately at 1-800-432-1022. about investing in diamonds. Harold's auction website is hsfineauctions.com. We'll talk more about that momentarily. But our featured diamond of the week is one to keep in mind for a core position in a portfolio if you were starting a diamond portfolio, or maybe even as a surprise for Valentine's, for that special person in your life. It's a .30 carat, heart-cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. And something like this is going to appreciate in value over time, what we believe, when the Argyle mine is shut down here in the next maybe 4 or 5 years. An incredible amount of time is going to go by, and you're possibly going to make a lot of money by obviously having this as something that you can wear and invest in at the same time. Go take a look at it, this featured diamond, at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. And we have video of the heart-shaped diamond, absolutely stunning. And Harold, we said last week, we taped the show on Thursday because you were very busy on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You were at the Susan G. Komen Perfect Pink Party, and they raised over $1.35 million for breast cancer research. It was held at Mar-a-Lago, and that was obviously hosted by Donald Trump. He owns Mar-a-Lago. And they said in a story that we found, and you can read it in our free weekly newsletter, that a special edition this year came courtesy of Harold Siegel of H. Siegel Fine Auctions, who provided for the auction of one-of-a-kind jewelry, including the Susan G. Komen Running Ribbon Collection earrings and Running Ribbon Collection pendant necklace, and Argyle pink diamond earrings from Oprah Winfrey's personal collection. And we have a picture of Harold Siegel's wife, Harriet, who's looking absolutely stunning in a beautiful black dress with beautiful diamonds from rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And we have another story from this event that took place last weekend in Palm Beach, Florida, at Mar-a-Lago. But Harold, once again, your company doing good work for charity, and it was great to see people like Donald Trump out, and those people that were at the event raising $1.35 million, obviously thanks to some of the investment ideas that you brought forward via diamonds.
Well, thank you very much, Randy. It was a special weekend. First of all, I hosted the party at Nancy Brinker's house. And for those that don't know who Nancy Brinker is, she's probably one of the most amazing women, because the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Charity, Susan G. Komen was Nancy Brinker's sister, and in 1986, Susan was dying of breast cancer. And back in the 80s, I mean, nobody even knew about breast cancer. They wouldn't even mention the word breast on the radio or TV. It was taboo type of thing. And as her sister was passing away, she looked at her sister Nancy, who were both very, very close, and said, "You've got to promise me that you will do everything in your power to try to end this horrible disease, breast cancer." And Nancy promised her sister that she would do that. How many of us have made promises in our life that we have never been able to keep? And this one was monumental, because Nancy took $2,000 of her own money and a Rolodex and started calling people and started talking about breast cancer and how it was killing women, and she turned that $2,000 into a $2 billion charity. And Nancy not only did what she promised her sister, but in 1986, if you had breast cancer, it was a death sentence. Now, 99% of women that have early detection because of what Komen has done survive, and it's really an unbelievable thing. And they've raised over $2 billion, and most of that money goes to research. So, you know, Nancy Brinker not only made this promise to her sister to fight breast cancer and to win, but on top of that, she became, under George Bush, President George Bush, she became ambassador to Hungary. She became Time's most influential person and went on to get numerous awards. However, again, I'm very heavily connected with this charity. I'm one of their corporate partners. And I've got to tell you that these people are so dedicated, so motivated, and I've always been a firm believer that when you get very smart and highly motivated people together in a room, any problem can be solved, and this is a pure example of that. So this event on Friday night was sensational. Nancy was there. The people from IndyCar were there, which I'm doing a big promotion with them coming up in September. And it was a phenomenal party, and we sponsored it. And we also had our own booth there where we showed magnificent diamonds, which was very, very popular. The next night was at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. And for those that don't know what Mar-a-Lago is, it was the old Post cereal mansion. So the Post family that owned Post cereals were very, very wealthy, very wealthy Palm Beach family, and they owned Mar-a-Lago, and Donald Trump purchased it, and that's where this party was on Saturday night. I've got to tell you, Randy, it was spectacular. Black tie, the food was outstanding. The amount of money that we raised was unbelievable, $1.3 million that night, and I got to say, thank you for putting up the picture of my wife, because I'm very proud of her, and she looked absolutely stunning that night. But if you can zoom in on what she was wearing an $800,000 diamond necklace, and she was wearing a $800,000 diamond ring, matching earrings that were 3 carats each and yellow flawlesses, hearts, and she also had a bracelet that matched the necklace. So she was sporting some serious, serious bling that night, and the photographers were all over us that night. It really was a phenomenal event, but it was all about the charity, all about raising money. Donald Trump was there, met a phenomenal woman who's one of the only IndyCar racing women that race IndyCars. And I met the owners of the cars, and we all donated a lot of money. It was really a special event. But a lot of this was centered around our diamond investments, and we donated Oprah Winfrey's pink diamond earrings, and they did extremely well. So all in all, the event was phenomenal. We have other major charity events coming up because of the success of using my auction business, H. Siegel Fine Auctions. We use that business and our own diamonds, that we put up our own diamonds to raise money for these charities, and we have more coming up within 2015. We also have an auction coming up very soon. I'll announce the date next week, but it's going to be a very rare Argyle diamond auction, and it's going to be spectacular, and it's going to be primarily for our Canadian clients. We're going to price it in Canadian dollars. There's going to be tremendous Argyles up there, very rare Argyles, not only pinks, but some blues, some grayish blues, the odd Argyle yellow that comes out, and maybe even an Argyle orange. So we've got a violet Argyle diamond coming out too. So I'll announce that next week. It's coming up. It's going to be sensational. The diamond market is on fire, and with what happened in Switzerland this week is another reason why you need to own diamonds. You could wake up one morning, find out your currency is worth next to nothing, and your net worth has dropped in half, or 30% like we saw in Switzerland. So to own a diamond, it's the only asset that does not trade on exchanges that can be sold in other currencies. And again, diamonds are portable private wealth. Everything happening in the world right now is very scary. It's hard to understand what's happening in the currency markets and why it's happening, but it's all starting to unfold in front of us. Take some of the money that you have in these very volatile and risky markets and put it into a safe asset. To own a diamond, to put it away, to forget about it, for the next 5 to 10 years will turn out to be the best investment that you've made. These diamonds never, ever decline in value. In fact, they go up substantially, and the worse these situations get, the more and more valuable these diamonds become. We're recommending very heavily the Argyle pinks because the Argyle mine produces 95% of the world's pink diamonds. It's going to close in 5 years, and these diamonds will be 5 to 10 times as valuable as they are today. That's a no-brainer. That's a situation that if you don't take advantage of now, you'll never, ever get a chance to do this again, because there is no mine in existence that does what the Argyle mine does, produce 95% of of all the pink diamonds. You definitely want to own Argyle pinks. You'll make more money in Argyle pink diamonds than you will in almost any investment, and there's not the risk that you have in any other marketplace. On top of that, yellow flawless diamonds are doing extremely well. They're going up by about 15% a year. They're becoming extremely difficult to get, and the fact is that yellow flawless diamonds back in 1980 were $500 a carat. Now they're $20,000 a carat. In 10, 15, 20 years from now, they'll be way higher than that again. So it really doesn't matter what the name of the investment is. It's what's going to give you the biggest return with the least amount of risk. And as difficult as it is to make money today, diamonds are doing a great job. Not only are we in the rare colored diamond business, which I've been in and the investment business basically for 35 years now, but we're also in the gold business, and we are also in the rough diamond business. In fact, we have a rough diamond business that's third generation already. And as hard as it is to believe, and I know this sounds too good to be true, but we pay our Canadian clients 24% a year return on their money. Means if you invest $100,000 with us in a rough diamond business, you're going to get $2,000 a month U.S., which now is worth about $2,400 Canadian. You're going to get that for 24 months and then return of your capital on the 24th month. And we use your money to increase our business. The rough diamond business and the contacts that we have in that business are tremendous. In fact, our buyers, who are cutters and polishers, love the product that we have. So we've increased our business. Our business is doing substantially better than it was previous, and we did that by including our clients in our business. So if you want to learn how you can make 24% a year U.S. on your money, I know it sounds too good to be true, but believe me, it's a secured investment. If you invest $500,000, we're going to put $500,000 of our own diamonds into the trust to back up your investment. If you put $1 million in, you're going to get $20,000 a month. You're going to get that for 24 months. So the fact is that if you're retired and you're looking at, putting your money in the bank, you're getting less than 2% a year, you're going to get 2% a month with my company. That means if you had $1 million in the market with us, you're going to get $20,000 a month. You're going to make $240,000 a year U.S., so add another 20% to that for the next 2 years, and then return of your capital. So if that's of interest to you, be certain to give us a call. We'll send you all the documents for it. It's a very straightforward investment. We both do extremely well on it. And again, I could borrow money at much less than 24%. I could borrow money at 3%. But the bottom line is I get my clients involved in the business, and everybody does well, and that's how my businesses have always grown. We've always included our clients in our business transactions. So again, the diamond market is where you want to be, whether it's with a rough diamond business that pays 24% a year U.S., or owning outright physical diamonds for the longer term that are going to give you possibly returns of 500 to 1,000% as the Argyle mine closes. The flawless white diamonds are doing tremendously well. Blue diamonds have gone up over 1,000% in the past 10 years, and these are where you want to put your money. Again, they're longer-term investments. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, these are some of the best investments you could make. They're safe. They go up more than almost any other investment, and they don't have the risk of trading in stocks and bonds. So, again, Randy, at this point here, the Argyle pink diamond market is on fire, and the closer we get to the mine closing down, the more and more these diamonds go up in value. We sell the most amount of Argyle pink diamonds, but don't think that it's a large market. It's a very small market. It's only 200 carats a year, enough to fill a champagne glass. That's how small that market is. But the pink diamond market is known as as one of the greatest markets that you could ever possibly own. And again, soon there will not be any more left. So again, it's almost a no-brainer to invest in pinks, but pinks aren't for everybody. They start at about 40 to 50,000, and they go up from there. And just to let you know what they've done in the last few years is that even the fancy light pink diamonds have gone up 20% a year for the last 5 years. That means you've doubled your money in 5 years on fancy light pinks. On all other Argyle diamonds, Argyles from 2002 to 2014 have actually increased 300%. I don't know of too many other markets that have done what the pink diamond market has done, but the best is by far yet to come. So, again, pink diamonds, they're portable private wealth. They're the most concentrated form of wealth in the world today. These small diamonds are worth a fortune, and soon there won't be any more of them left. Go onto our website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Look at our inventory of beautiful pinks. We just got some new ones in, and we'll be happy to show them to you. The vivids are the strongest saturated colors, and those are the ones that are the most expensive, but consequently also go up the most in value. So Randy, with all the confusion in the world, what's happening with the currency markets in Europe, in Russia, and now in Switzerland in the euros, the diamond market is the market to have your money in, because again, it's the only asset that can be sold in other currencies and doesn't trade on exchanges like commodities and stocks do. So I'm just ecstatic about what's happening in the diamond market at this time.
As we say, the most secure and profitable investment, millions of years in the making. Rare colored diamonds. See some of the world's finest investment diamonds at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It's like going to a museum online. Diamonds are nature's art. And as we've spoken about before, when they find these diamonds, they're millions of years old, and they're telling us a story from the past. And in fact, we had that story, I guess, about 3 weeks ago about why pinks are pinks, and they still haven't been able to figure out why. But it is a telltale of what the past was, and that's why we call them nature's art. Private, portable, stable wealth. Speak with Harold today. Start your own diamond investment portfolio. Receive a free copy of our weekly World Financial Report on Radio newsletter. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or speak with Harold personally, privately, 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. And the reason I always mention personally and privately, Harold does not share anything with anybody that you speak with him about when it comes to your personal finances. I know I can tell you I've worked with Harold for a long time on this show, and he has never said a word to me about anybody. So what you say to him is in confidence, in private, and he would just like to have the opportunity to educate you about this hard asset market. And we have our featured diamond of the week, a 0.30 carat, hard cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. And Harold, when I saw that, it immediately came to my mind, we're about a month away from Valentine's. And if someone was looking to make a statement for an engagement ring or a Valentine's present, I know the timing might be a little tight, but my goodness, this is just absolutely stunning.
Thank you very, very much. And the heart-shaped diamond is not only perfect for Valentine's Day, but also one of the rarest cuts, very difficult to get. Get our catalog, because we have some beautiful heart diamonds in there also that are already in jewelry through my company, Diamanti Atelier. So there's 4 divisions actually now to our company. One, rare colored diamonds, is the investment aspect for colored diamonds. 8 Seagull Fine Auctions is the secondary market that resells them. Diamanti Atelier is our jewelry division, and then we also have our rough diamond business, which again is doing so tremendously well, and our clients are in love with that business. So that's what we bring to the table. We bring which no other company can bring to you, and we bring it to you in beautiful websites so you can see everything. And again, we're the only company that has the secondary market in which resells our clients' diamonds. So all in all, just very, very pleased with what's happening in the diamond market at a time when the markets all around the world are so difficult to understand and so challenging. It's nice to have something as simple as a diamond that you just put it away and let it increase in value, then give it back to us in 10 years and we'll sell it for you. And we'll only take a percentage or a commission if it's profitable. If you make money, we get 10% of the profit. If you don't make money, we don't get anything. So that's the way that we work, and again, our clients tend to love that.
Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. And the big news of the week, and it was very shocking because it came out of the blue. In fact, from what I read this morning, they didn't even tell the IMF they were going to do it. And that is Switzerland ended the euro peg, sending the Swiss franc soaring up 30%. And even more telling, the central bank cut interest rates even further into negative territory, down to 0.75, so basically almost a full percentage point, from negative 0.25. So negative 0.75 to negative 0.25. And Harold, we've seen what happened in Cyprus, where they went in and took money out of bank accounts and gave people worthless shares. And now we're starting to see, and this is something that we predicted a long time ago, you're going to be paying them to keep money in a bank account.
How crazy is that? And right now it's 0.75%. But eventually, as time continues to go on and the situation, starts to get worse, what's next? That they're going to charge us 3, 4, 5%. It's an unbelievable situation, but it is something that we did predict a couple of years ago, and now it is coming true. I can assure you, most of the things that we did predict. Again, I've been in the investment business 35 years. I've seen similar situations like this happen, so I've been able to basically predict that this will happen again. And there is no doubt in my mind that we are going to see complications in currencies that will absolutely wreak havoc on these financial markets. So it's really a time to be much more conservative, not take the risk, because if you lose your money again in these markets and you're in your 60s or 70s, the chances are you could never, ever make it back again. Take some of the risk off the table. Put some money into safer assets where you're going to do much better. There's no doubt that gold is going to be a phenomenal asset again. And again, if we think the gold's going to go to 4,000 to 5,000, obviously $1,200 gold is a fantastic buy. I just believe that because of the strength of the currency market, because the U.S. dollar is unfortunately so strong at this particular point, that it's going to push gold down again. And we'll see a couple days where gold will drop off $40, $50, $60, get back down to the levels that we're comfortable with, and then we want to be a major buyer of gold again, and we'll certainly let you know when that's going to happen. But all in all, again, it's a very dangerous time to be in the markets at this point, and certainly not a time when you want to speculate.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022, our featured diamond of the week. And it is absolutely stunning. 0.30 carat, heart cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. And Harold touched on and we will be happy to send this out to you, the Diamante, and just absolutely stunning jewelry in this catalog. We'll be happy to send it out to you. The catalog, it is in our free weekly newsletter as well. In fact, you talk about heart-shaped diamonds. In this catalog, they have a yellow diamond ring surrounded by yellow diamonds set in a colorless diamond-encrusted band, and the yellow diamond ring is heart-shaped. Harold, this is, and I've said this on past shows, one of the most spectacular diamonds I think I have ever seen. And if you were to do something similar with this vivid purplish pink argyle, you would have something absolutely stunning. And we have about a minute left.
You bet. You want to put that into a ring or into a necklace especially, because it's just too beautiful to keep locked up. And by putting it in jewelry, it can increase in value tremendously. So, again, just a phenomenal asset to own. We've got Valentine's Day coming up. We have beautiful pink and yellow diamonds that are in hearts already in jewelry. So get our catalog at Diamante Atelier. We'll send it to you. Just contact us. And, again, you're going to see some of the most beautiful colored diamond jewelry that you've ever seen in your life, and it's all investment quality.
I know I sent a copy of it to my mother, and she was very impressed with what she saw. Harold Siegel, thank you very much for another outstanding show and your knowledge as usual.
It's my pleasure, Randy. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
We encourage everyone to have in their portfolio an insurance policy. We believe that hard assets are that insurance policy: diamonds, gold, silver. Because as we woke up on Thursday morning to find out, they had removed the peg from the Swiss franc and the euro. And you had the Swiss National Bank suffering losses of $80 billion. And some even saying $100 billion. They're talking about quantitative easing for the euro to fight off deflation. What will that do to paper assets? It won't be pretty. That's why we advocate hard assets. RareColoredDiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.